So let's start by reading our questions, and then we'll read our story before we go back and pick our answers. This text is organized by blank. We had talked before about different ways to organize a paragraph or to organize your writing. So they want to know, how did they put this in order? Or what order are they using? Question number 2. The First Amendment is important because it means blank. So whenever they talk about the First Amendment, we need to make sure we slow down, we pay attention, so we can get that one correct. Number 3, the main purpose of the Bill of Rights is to blank. Why did they make the Bill of Rights? What does it do? What that last question is asking. And then question 4, give an example of how the Bill of Rights affects your everyday life as a fourth grader. So the Bill of Rights does apply to everybody, and they want to know, how does it work for us specifically that we're in fourth grade? Story says the Bill of Rights. The first 10 changes or amendments to the U.S. Constitution are called the Bill of Rights. The Constitution was adopted in 1789. The Bill of Rights are the first 10 amendments to the Constitution and were adopted in 1791. The Bill of Rights is a collection of freedoms and rights of American citizens. The First Amendment gives the freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, and the right to gather together and to protest. The First Amendment actually does quite a lot for us. Number 1, it makes it so that you can't go to jail just for saying something. Before, like when we had a king, if you said something like, oh, the king's dumb, or I don't like the king, or the king makes bad choices, they could throw you in jail. Freedom of religion. No matter what religion you follow or practice or are part of, they can't throw you in jail for that. Freedom of the press. If you are a journalist, if you work for the news, any news station, they can't put you in jail because you're sharing information with other people. They can't put you in jail because you're putting the truth. Now, if you're printing out and you're sharing lies, you can get in trouble for that. But if you're printing out the truth and you're sharing the truth and telling people the truth, they can't put you in jail for that. And the right to gather together and to protest. So if the citizens don't like something, they can get together in a group and they can work together and tell the government, hey, we don't like this, this should be changed, or this should be different. The Second Amendment grants the right to bear arms. So that means that you're allowed to have guns to protect yourself or to hunt if you need to hunt for your food. Okay, if it's loading kind of slow, Brianna, I know your internet's been fighting with you today. Leave the call for now, let the slides load, and then come back in. The Third Amendment states that soldiers or the military cannot take over a person's home without permission. So before, if you were living in the colonies, the soldiers who were part of the king's army, if they went to your house, they could just tell you, hey, I need to stay here, I need your room, or I need your bed, and I'm going to sleep here for a month. If you told them no, or you didn't want to let them, you could get in trouble for that. Now, you don't have to say yes. If a soldier comes to your house and they say, hey, I need to stay here for a month, you can either say, yeah, sure, that's fine, you can stay here. Or you can say, no, I don't want you to stay here, I don't know you. And you can't get in trouble for that. The Fourth Amendment protects citizens from unlawful searches and taking of their property. So that one, like we had talked about before, if they think that you might have committed a crime, if they think you're a criminal, they need to have proof, or they need to have a reason to think that you're a criminal before they can just search your house or things like that. If they don't have a reason, if they don't have a good reason to think that you're a criminal, they can't just stop you and look through your car, or look through your house, or look through your stuff. The Fifth Amendment ensures a fair hearing in a court of law. It also says a person cannot be forced to testify against himself. That's why you sometimes hear someone took the fifth. So the Fifth Amendment makes sure that, number one, you need to have a trial in court. So they can't just say, oh, it was, Ezekiel who stole the diamonds. It's him. He's guilty. Throw him in jail. There has to be a trial. They have to go to court. They have to tell everyone the facts. And then the jury gets to decide, is Ezekiel guilty? Does he go to jail, or is he not guilty? The other thing it does is it helps to protect you for that court case. So let's say that, I don't know. Let's say that, we'll go with the same example. They think Ezekiel stole a bunch of diamonds, the diamond thief. And they ask him in court, Ezekiel, did you steal the diamonds? Normally you have to answer the questions. But if Ezekiel actually stole the diamonds and he doesn't want to say, yeah, I stole the diamonds, because then he knows he's going to get in trouble, he doesn't have to answer that question. He can use that Fifth Amendment and just say, I don't want to answer that question. The Sixth Amendment grants citizens a speedy and public trial by jury if they are accused of a crime. So again, that makes sure that if you're accused, like if they accuse Ezekiel of stealing the diamonds, that they can't just again say, it's Ezekiel, he's guilty, throw him in jail. If they think he's the one who stole them, he has to have a trial. There has to be a jury of people to hear what happened, and they get to decide, is it true? Did he really steal them? Or did he not? Or is this just, are they wrong? Did they get the wrong person? The Seventh Amendment allows for a trial by jury in some arguments between people that are settled in court. The Seventh Amendment just makes sure that even if it's not something where you broke the law, if it's something where it's just you fighting against someone else, like if it's, I don't know, if it's Nakai and Messiah, and they're arguing because Messiah's got a big tree in his front yard, and the tree is leaning over onto Nakai's yard and is putting a bunch of leaves there, and he's got to pick them up, so he's upset about it, that they can still have, they can still go to court and have a jury decide who's right. Is it Nakai that's right, or is it Messiah that's right? So even if it's just two people arguing and no one's really breaking the law, they can still have a jury for that. The Eighth Amendment prohibits cruel and unusual punishment. That was the one that says that if it's only a small crime or a small problem, you can't have a big punishment. So if Messiah's tree is growing really big and it's putting leaves on Nakai's lawn, they can't go, Messiah, you have leaves on Nakai's lawn, you go to jail for 1,000,000 years. Because he can just say, it's just some leaves, you guys, I'll pick them up. Relax. So if it's a small problem or a small crime, then the punishment should be small. If it's a big problem or a big crime, then the punishment should be big. And the Eighth Amendment just makes sure of that. The Ninth Amendment says that no person's rights are more important than another person's rights. So just because Messiah has rights, like the right to growing a tree in his yard, doesn't mean that Nakai doesn't have rights, like he doesn't want leaves all over his front yard. He wants it to be clean. So your rights can't get in the way of someone else's rights. The 10th Amendment says that the states have some powers that the federal government does not have. We know that we live in the United States, and there's 50 different states that all make up our country. There's some laws that the whole country has to follow, and there's some laws that only people in certain states have to follow. The states get to decide some of those laws, and the country gets to decide other laws. All right. Question number 1, this text is organized by A, telling which right is given by each amendment, B, comparing and contrasting the rights given under each amendment. C, listing the causes and effects of each amendment. Or D, telling which amendment is most important. Which answer choice do you think is best? How did they organize this? How did they put this in order? Or how did they choose what was first and second and third and fourth? What do we think after reading this? How did they put it in order? How did they decide what to say first and then after that and after that? Was it by telling which right is given to you by each amendment, so going amendment by amendment? Was it by showing how each amendment is different and how they are the same? Was it by listing causes and effects? Or was it by telling us which one is the most important, and then the second most, and then the third, and then the fourth most? How do you think they put this in order? Noah? Which one would you choose? Which one do you think makes the most sense, Noah? Yeah, which one would you pick? Which one do you think is the best? You say A, B, C, or D? A, telling which right is given by each amendment. I'd agree with you, Noah. Look at how they put this in order. The First, the Second Amendment, the Third Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment. So all they're doing is going in order. First Amendment, second, third, fourth. They're not telling us this is the most important and the second most important, the third most important. They're just going in order and telling us what every amendment does for us. I think you're right. I think answer choice A is probably the best one to pick. Now we're out of time to do the rest, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to have to do the rest for our homework tonight. So this, make sure that you study for your spelling test tomorrow. And I know we have 30 minutes of reading, but this can count toward that. So if you work on this for 10 minutes, you only need 20 more minutes of reading after that. But make sure you study for your spelling test. Make sure you finish this, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.